briefing is devoted to the civic initiative Truth Watch, which gives a start to nationwide volunteer movement on control after elections in a single mandate district. We will discuss this issue with the Serhiy Boyko, Maidan Illustration Committee, Alexander Popov, Coordination Center of Ukraine Self-Defense Initiatives, and Serhiy Ivanov, the Night Watch NGO. Good morning, esteemed journalists. I'm Serhiy Boyko from Maidan Illustration Committee. Today we came to discuss the incoming elections, which will be held next month, and the old voting system and the threats of the old law on elections. What are the threats, actually? Actually, this is a window for old bureaucrats, for the regionals, the representatives of the party of regions. And as President Poroshenko said, Ukrainians will need to compromise with members of parliament elected from DNR and LNR, but civic activists disagree with the president and are eager to do everything possible to improve the future parliament and in order to prevent reviving of the old regime in new Ukraine. So this was our motivation, which gave birth to our initiative, which is called the Truth Watch. The main objective of this volunteer initiative is to contribute all possible effort and encourage all the voters to vote conscientiously in the polling stations on the election day. The experience of previous elections prove that sometimes people come to the polling station on voting day and just look in the ballot and check the list of unknown names. And when in these cases, when voting this way, people simply voted for those names which sounded familiar, either in the context of disseminating paquet packages or some money preferences or etc. So our objective is to raise awareness among people. The second, to monitor any possible violations in course of campaigning. And the third is to protect the voting results. That is to prevent any bribes, any mistakes in calculations, intentional mistakes in calculations of votes, etc. In order to implement these three major objectives, we decided to establish the Truth Watch team in each election committee or in each polling station, in each constituency. The Truth Watch team will comprise civic activists, volunteers who proved to be activists in the days of the Revolution of Dignity, and in course of the ATO's support such teams which allow us to have in each constituency, and we plan to have up to 200 teams and comprise volunteers, lawyers, journalists, so to say, some force team. Also, I would like to share a bit about our tools and instruments, what will be used by the Truth Watch teams. But before describing these instruments, I'd like to give the floor to Alexander Popov, who will describe two very important tasks. One of those tasks is to monitor election campaigns of the candidates, and the second task is to protect the results of elections from distortion. Technically, the monitoring process will look like as follows, understanding that the time frame is extremely short and that bribing and will be widely used. The warfare which we have in Ukraine, it actually is put on the shoulders of the voters who voted for Communist Party of the regions and etc. And so this is responsibility of the voters. Understanding that we need to raise the voting culture, political culture of the voters, we plan to raise awareness of people. That is, in case we discover any facts about bribes, about kickbacks, about any false information provided to the voters, we will immediately send a special team which will document this, so that way either record it or on video, on tape recorder, these facts, and then this will be widely publicized, or in case of necessity, we will undertake the civic arrest of these people on the election day. We have, as we reached agreement with those parties which are members of the election committees, local election committees. We have an agreement that they will observe the voting process to prevent any criminal violations of them, just like merry-go-round system, etc. So-called. So this is our intention and our plan. As of now, we have reached agreement with the local self-defense teams. Also, we involved participants from the ATO operations, also activists from Maidan. They are now undertaking self-arranging measures, and they will be united and well organized to act in this direction. Now I would like to describe an important instrument, an important tool of this project. This is the online tool. We have our online resource, which is called the Truth Watch in Ukrainian, Varta Pravda, and our teams. Probably you might remember the Dream Kiev project, which this was an online project which allowed any visitor to check the full list of candidates in his or her constituency. And actually, currently, we have launched a similar online resource, but on the nationwide scale, and it will allow people to find easily their constituencies and check the list of all the candidates in this constituency. And the presentation and the interface is designed in the way which will immediately demonstrate each candidate will present each candidate in line with the criteria. These are criteria. So the criteria, whether the candidate voted for laws on January 16th, whether he was a member of a communist or party of regions, support of separatism, participation in anti-Maidan, bribing of voters, participation in the revolution of dignity, support of the ATO, etc. So people will be able to check each candidate against all these criteria and thus get an idea about the real nature of each candidate. And sometimes
зовсім інша людина.
Sometimes a party create preferences for majoritarian candidates, and actually this only masks the real candidates. And also we will have personal website for each candidate, web page for each candidate, and provide information about each of them. Also, there was a function in this internet resource allowing to add some information about the candidate, about violations, and all this operative information will immediately come to the Truth Watch team leader, and he will organize the check of this information. Also, this resource will allow people to join our Truth Watch. For this, it will be sufficient to fill in the questionnaire and submit a request to become a member. And the website, this internet resource, will become operative from October 2nd, and we have the same IT team as Dream Kiev was, and we expect that they will cope with this important task of internet resource creation. And now I would like to introduce Sergei Ivanov, who will describe in more detail how the Truth Watch team will work. From last week, we have been getting alarming news from our brothers, and they are coming from the south, the west, the east, the central part. And we understand that Putin is involving new front line in Ukraine, and this is now in the area of votes. And the aim of this process is to bring the same people to the parliament. For example, today's morning from Chernihiv Oblast, from 207 constituency, we received an information that Rybakov, former member of parliament from Party of Regions, has started bribing voters, paying them, offering them from 200 to 400 hryvnia. And this immediately raised and stirred up people who participated in the ATO operations. This attracted attention of the journalists, and now they are deploying the activities of the Truth Watch in their constituency. Actually, our role is to coordinate activities of all these civic movements existing locally. And our major objective is to prevent chaos, to prevent the oligarch group coming in power. And that's why, as civic activists and veterans of the ATO movement, we have united our effort to prevent the old members of parliament, old politicians going there, and to open way for new faces to the parliament. Actually, do we have questions? Good afternoon. You mentioned that you have started process of establishing your local Truth Watch teams, and what is the mechanism in place to ensure that these are really worthy people and trustworthy people? You know, during the Revolution of Dignity and in course of implementing many of our projects during the last 9 months, I mean volunteer projects, also the Self-Defense Coordination Committee supplies people. That is, we involve those people with whom we have a long history of contacts, and as of the moment, we do not cover the entire Ukraine. We believe that due to the launched internet resource, we will be able to involve more people. Internet resource will allow us to involve new people, and there is a special procedure established for selecting those people. In order to join the movement, people will need to demonstrate their awareness about situation in their local region. Then this information will be checked by our trustworthy representatives, and later after those people will contact with the new candidate, and based on this, check this new candidate will be involved to our team. Even in the East, where it is not so easy to find activists of the revolution of dignity, nevertheless, there are volunteer battalions like Azov, like Donbass, and in these regions we will deploy the activities of our organizations.
Fifth channel in Narodik, you're saying that you're going not to allow people from Yanukovych regime to come to the elections. So we know how you're going to combat with them, but how are you going not to let them to take part in the elections? They are registered so far. So your question is related to the information spreading campaign within the present task. Our team will work individually with voters. We're going to print some polygraphic information, some leaflets, according to the criteria we've explained. People will be brought this information. We will bring this information to attention of people, because representatives of the foreign regime will be hiding behind the backs of other candidates, because we had plenty of cases when in the parties which are coming to the elections include people who are representatives of the previous regime of Viktor Yanukovych. For example, if we take the party of Petro Poroshenko, if you are a candidate of this party, it doesn't mean that you represent the democratic forces. This person may be the representative of the previous regime. Due to such measures, due to such flash mobs, the people will get to know about the information on every candidate. You have to understand that our project is the project of democracy. Our project, we understand that the Party of Regions has only one tool. They buy the voters. That is why we have to fix such violations and document the cases of such violations of people who are buying the votes of people in regions. I would like to add, so communists and regionals, representatives of the Party of Regions, they may not be physically violating the laws. They are constantly displayed on the TV. They appear in the mass media. It is not forbidden. It is not mandatory to use buckwheat, but the voters shall know. I believe that in 20 years we are going to have another voter. Everyone shall understand that he or she is personally responsible for whom they elect, and when shells start blowing in their household, in their houses, when the bullet will be killing their relatives, they shall not be screaming, "Who is guilty?" They shall recollect whom they were voting for, what civil position they had or they failed to have. And that is the issue of personal responsibility of the voter before the country and before himself. Why have you chosen such criteria? Why have you so many criteria? As we see, they are quite tough. We see that they include some professional experience. I may say that there are plenty of people who do not have higher education, but who may be elected. So how did you choose these criteria? And what will be the information source for compliance to these criteria? Because we understand the criteria of voting on January 16th. There are such sources of information. They are usually journalists who can be trusted, who are trustworthy. Transparency International information will also be used. So what are your sources? Maybe somebody will tell you that the person was buying votes. How could you prove it? So in this case, the main source will be just trustworthy sources. That would be side of Verkhovna Rada, if to speak about the law of January 16. If there will be no information in public access, 100% confirmation of the criteria, then the criteria will not be applied for this candidate. Then no information will be filled into this table. So my main message is that we're going to use the trustworthy channels, trustworthy sources. Otherwise, we would put no information available. This criteria, if maybe some of our partners or people who will join the project would like to introduce some amendments, some corrections, we are open for them. The site is being just processed, being created. But why these criteria? Why professional experience? Professional experience in what? For example, doctor. Is this a professional experience? It's worth mentioning that the criteria may not be quite selective. We shall choose people who have all the necessary experience. It means that person is successful in some field and he or she can start doing it for the state from the blank sheet. Then we're speaking about 3 criteria which indicate the key quality, that is patriotism. You see participation in volunteer streams, in volunteer initiatives, in the Revolution of Dignity. We have some commands. Tell me, please, do you have some sources of financing? Can you tell us about it? To speak about financing, so what kind of financing the Revolution of Dignity had? So now everything what is done for the project, the development of the site, the office, everything is done with the support of volunteers, or it is our own contributions of programists of the initiative group. It is going on as a volunteer movement. No doubt we understand that this project, this high-scale project, may not be launched due to just some personal inputs is not possible. That's not enough because we need some premises, some offices, we need have communication, transport, logistics, we need money to print materials. At this site, we are going to have the button help the project, and one of the directions will be financial help, just to help us financially. And now we are conducting talks with representatives of small business. So the project will launch today. This day is an official launch of the project, and people are ready to support us. We are hopeful for fundraising and for attraction funds from small business.
Also, it is extremely important that this project is going to be not just a temporary project for the elections. When the elections are over, the project will be transformed. It will change the format, and we will monitor how members of parliament will implement and stick with the promises made during election campaign, because in the 2018 or 2016, there will be the next local elections, and we will make this process continuous. There are total deceit in the society resulted in the revolution of dignity, and we believe that this is a proper time to give birth to the civic movement. The 3 hours out of day should be devoted to your country. This is the proper time which could be devoted to the civil movement by the immediate participants of our movement, and we invite participants of the ATO operation in the East to join our teams and to work. No further questions. Thank you. The Ukrainians are worth to